welcome to the Age of Listening channel. I kind of felt burdened, I don't like the word burdened, I kind of felt that I needed to do a video on should intuitives earn money from their gift, and two points really to clarify and touch upon is the massive hypocrisy, and these can come from people that are biblically minded, or it can come from people that aren't religious at all, but who have grown up in Western civilizations where it was said a lot, and basically, for psychics, mediums, whatever you want to call them, intuitives, let's just look at who started it off. And this complete hypocrisy was started off by the church in order to ignore the women at the edge of the village, who might have natural ways, or might be, natural ways of healing, or might have had views that were not the norm, not of the normal social attitudes of the day, and she might have been intuitive as well. But that was always sort of pumped out by the church on a Sunday, oh, these people, they're making a living. Oh, and by the way, put 10% in the collection box, please. If you look at the church or religious communities that ask for money, and they will turn around and say it's tithing. That's God's money. Well, if it's God's money, then how come the vast majority of it is put into banks, and put into, yes, there is a certain amount that is put in, very apt, that is put into buildings and wages and all of that, but an awful lot of it is going back in the bank, making money, and not a lot of it goes back to the poor and the needy, which is probably where it should be going to. So you have a lady, generally it's a lady, but it can be a man, a shaman of some sort, and he lives on the outskirts of the community, physically or just mentally, and his role is to be that hermit. And if someone's going to come into his space and into his life to ask for greater wisdom that they alone haven't got, then what is the difference between that and you going to a counsellor, going to your priest who has a wage, going to anybody? We are worth just as much as anybody else, because you're paying for time, not paying for a gift, which people say, oh, well, it's naturally given, so it should be something that's free to all. Well, it is free to all, 100%. It's free to everybody, but there's only a teeny percentage of the population that are actually able to harness that gift and use it. And so the thing is that those people don't have spare time to give to everyone else if they can't pay their bills, and actually just can't pay bills and feed themselves. So and if they do, and they have a living outside of the spiritual community, they're knackered, they're drained, and if they've got a family as well. So for a spiritual person to take themselves away from society, physically and mentally and emotionally, so that they are out of this matrix, they actually require the space of not working in the sort of, you know, capitalist work regime like other people, so that they can spend that time to meditate, to live in that quiet space, so that they're able to receive information. And when people do come to them, they're in a space of balance and openness. You know, so what do my notes say? I think I've covered it really. Yeah, I mean, I put here, because hermits are naturally on the outside of community, and they're there because they generally can see more of the controlling matrix, and they don't want anything to do with it. And so they have to find a different alternative way of living and providing food on the table and paying for their bills. And that's the sort of control, and that's the sort of environment they need to be in. So if you're going to come into their space, then you're paying for their time, not their gift. Where if you go to religions, certain Western religions, or the three main Abrahamic religions, then which are man-made and built up by mankind, humankind, then they don't expect, they want their 10%, and they don't have a problem in stating that. And that 10% is a tax. Let's you know, be honest about it. It's a tax. And I used to be in the church, and for a very, very, very long time. I was born into it. And I loved it for a very long time. But my eyes have been opened to realise that it is a man-made institution held up by a heavily redacted series of manuscripts that people say are God-inspired, when they've been fiddled with for a long time. You just have to look at the case of the rapture to realise that was a whole made-up thing. And the Catholic Church made that up. And now it's in everyday church and people think it's real. Well, it was made up because people were beginning to move away from the church. They were beginning to think for themselves and be autonomous. And the Catholic Church wasn't about to have that happen. So a note was sent around, going from monastery to monastery, churches to cathedrals, to say we need to tell the people that there's this, that there is this rapture story, and if you're really good and you behave good and you fit in with everybody else, then you will be raptured away from, you know, when Armageddon comes. But if you don't, if you're not a good boy and girl, then you'll have to stick around for those times. And it brought all the people back in. It made everyone come back into line. Well, the hermit stays away from that control. Just can see it for what it is. And you know, so when, I don't know who this is going to talk to, but we walk a singular path, and we know that's the only path we can take. There isn't a choice in it, really. it is what it is. And we do fight against the system, the man-made system. So, you know, for any of you out there that are psychic, you know, I don't have a problem with money. Money is their system. You know, if I can be self-sufficient, I'd rather be self-sufficient and grow my own food, and which I do, but be very, very self-sufficient. I don't want any part of this man-made structure. Most of them don't. And you know, but if this hermit person is in need of something, then you should pay them for their time. And that's how I feel about it, because they haven't got time to give you stuff for free. So, you know, that there is a fine line between receiving a gift from a hermit and leaning on them and thinking they're going to enable you for free. No, it doesn't work that way spiritually. Anyway, it sounded like a rant. It wasn't a rant. It is me being honest and saying what needs to be said, really, because I'm so I don't get, to be honest, I've never received it personally, and I don't feel I've just never had anybody turn around to me. I mean, if they did, I wouldn't have a problem with saying, you know, well, look around at the fat cats that are in the religions. Look around, they can pay a mortgage, yeah, with their money. They don't have a problem. So, you know, and look at the way that certain churches are rich. I mean, it's $1 billion business. It's huge business. It's the same way as charities. I don't give money to charity. I give money to individuals. I don't give money to charity. Why? Because when you find out how little a percentage of your money actually goes to the charity, you'd be disgusted. When you find out that the fat cats in charities are on 6-digit salaries, and that's just the one at the top, you know, it's just appalling. So yeah, that's just how I feel. But anyway, rant over. Didn't mean to be a rant, but I feel strongly about it, and I think it's okay to be strong and to feel strongly about something. I have been surrounded by Christians all my life, as I've said before, and when they propagate lies, if we don't stand up and shine a light on that system, and if enough of us don't shine a light on that system, then that lie just stays ever present. And you know, look, you pay your money to a psychic or an intuitive or a tarot reader or whatever, and what you receive is not good, then, you know, there's no different between, I don't know, trying a new sweet at a shop and you don't like it. Well, you know, that happens. You've wasted your money. It happens though. You go to somebody for a service, you know, you go and get, I don't know, a wallpaper, you know, decorator, or I don't know, a house cleaner. You paid your money, it wasn't very good. It happens. That doesn't mean everybody are charlatans. That just means that that's life. But to paint all hermits and say that, well, they shouldn't ask for anything. Well, how the heck are they supposed to earn a living? How the heck are they supposed to live? You want them to be self-sufficient. You're not being self-sufficient. And they've got a gift you haven't got because you're so busy living, trying, in the matrix, trying to survive with all the taxes and everything else that we have. Where we know that we have to move ourselves away from that because we know it's prison. We know it's a prison. And so we naturally are looking at ways to to put a division between man-made institutions, but that comes with a price. And unless we write a book or something to sell, usually we're quite broke. So it's not so much paying for something as actually blessing us for being who we are. Which, and I mean, I'm going to plug my business now, but, I give everything when I meet a client. And, and I do try to, well, I am able to kind of have an emotional distance from the client, but I'm really aware that when people come to me that I need to give them their all, because I'm not just standing up for all intuitives or tarot readers, because I need to show them that not all, and also this lie, tarot card readers are all charlatans. I bloody hate that. It really, really gets on my wick, because there's so many of us. We're such a small group, and when someone paints us with a broad brush and says, "Oh, you're all charlatans," well, okay, I've been to church, and I can say that out of all of the ministers, pastors, vicars, priests that I've met, I've probably met 3 that genuinely have any spirituality about them. Any spiritual wisdom at all. Any form of intuition connected from source. 3. So, people need to put that in their pipe and smoke it as well. Because, the hypocrisy is what really does my nut in. I want you all to be. I would love it if everyone was intuitive and didn't need to come to me. I would love it if because that would change the world. The whole world would change. But that's not the case. We're living in a world where the vast majority are lost, where the vast majority are in pain, and there needs to be as many people as possible who they can come to for solace, for direction, and for light, so that they can start their journey in growth, pushing forwards with their own momentum, so that they can pass on the light to somebody else. So, we all do the best that we can. And I think that the reason for this video, this little rant, didn't mean to start out a rant. And I'm sort of thinking, should I put it up? And I'm thinking, I'll stuff it. Why not? I'll get some haters. But commenters actually help my channel. So it helps my algorithm. So, hey, bring it on. That's if they've even stayed this long. But I think it needs to be said. I think it needs to be stood up for. We need original people. We need genuine people. And we need to have genuine experiences. And if you can't muster that for yourself, you need to go to someone that can. And you need to bless them for it, because it is not something that is freely given, because it's their time. I get people all the time. I do get people all the time wanting freebies, and I'm always I kind of always will tend to give a freebie reading within the first 5 minutes, because I like to get to know them, say hello, find out what they actually really want, and I tend to give them a free reading for the first time, just because that's the way I am. I don't mean initial cold reading. I mean, you know, hi, how are you? What is it you're after? You know, what's the situation? Because often, if I don't do cold readings, they ask me for a question. And actually, that's not what the cards are wanting to talk about. The cards are actually wanting to talk about the reason why they're in the situation they're in, as to why they're actually asking the question in the first place. So my cards tend to go, okay, you want this, but actually this is the reason why you're in the situation that you're in. And actually that's what needs to change. So I don't tend to, because then I get, you know, I get somebody, I'll give you for instance, somebody will turn up and they'll say, what is my boyfriend, you know, is my boyfriend going to propose to me, or is my boyfriend going to end up, am I going to end up with this man? And my cards will just say something completely different, like, well, you need to focus on you. Actually, you need to focus on your career. You're not really independent enough. You've been too self-reliant, you know, the usual sort of guff that actually you don't need cards to know. That's just intuitive common sense. And of course they're dissatisfied with that answer, because generally the answer is no, or it's no, or it's yes, you'll end up together, but this person is toxic as hell. I can't tell you how many times I've got people who just like, don't talk to me again, because it's not the answer they want to hear. Okay, so you've just come into my environment. I'm not giving you the answer you wanted. You've left without paying anything or blessing me in any sort of way. As I say, I don't mind those that say, oh, I want to use you again. Thank you so much. It's been a great half hour. You know, I'll definitely contact you again. I don't mind that. I don't mind that. That's fine. That's fine. Because I know they will bless me eventually. But those that just come in, they just want the answer, they get the answer they don't like, and then they go and they don't pay anything, and they think, you know, and then they go away and go, you know, she's a charlatan, you know, she's speaking rubbish and whatever. Now, they do tend to come back once they realise that I was right. But, you know, it's spiritual world is a funny old world, and but I think we have to be practical. We have to think practically, and I know that I can give my best to my clients because I am not doing a 9-to-5 job, then coming home, then cooking dinner, then getting the kids to bed, and then trying to do readings. And if I had a husband who was, you know, right, I've got to support him as well, and then there's shopping to do, and then there's the ironing and the cooking, I would, you know, it's difficult. It's difficult. It's not impossible, but it is difficult, which is why hermits need to step slightly aside. We have to have a slightly different life, because we just can't do everything. Okay, right, well, okay, don't know who's going to still be listening to this, but it is what it is. Anyway, I'm going to get ready for my day's readings. It's a wonderful weekend, and weather's quite good out there. Talking of the Emperor card, I am not going to be taking part in what's going on this weekend. That'll tell you how I feel. But I will be concentrating on getting some videos out for other signs, because I've been busy and it's been a little bit delayed. But I'm going to get out the monthly readings, because I've done them, but I just haven't had the time to edit. Okay, right. Bye everybody.